all-time leading scorer. They need some help.
Long run out by Kobe Bryant. Behind.
Kobe Bean Bryant is one of the most decorated athletes in the history of professional sports. He's a 5-time world champion, scored 81 points in one game, and produced a Hall of Fame career in 2 different jersey numbers through his 20 years of mastery in the NBA. All great athletes have a unique story to tell. The greats all feature something truly special about them that helped them reach supreme heights of performance, whether that's coming from a challenged background, growing up through poverty, or anything that helped fuel them to reach a certain level of greatness. For Kobe, he didn't come from poverty, nor did he have a story to tell about a challenging upbringing. In the words of Michael Jordan, Kobe was maybe tougher than even I was. He was Kobe Bean Bryant, a human being, a specimen, unlike any other athlete we've ever closely observed. He had a killer instinct vastly different from any other star of his kind. He was crazy obsessed. He was insane. Kobe's level of preparation and commitment to the game of basketball is what helped him become Kobe. His work ethic was relentless, and we saw that manifest for 20 great years on the hardwood. The level of confidence he had in his abilities is what really put him a step ahead of the rest of the league. Kobe jumped straight to the pros as a 17-year-old coming out of high school in 1996. If there are words that can accurately describe Kobe's unrelenting mindset, he was a 17-year-old that walked into Los Angeles telling everybody that he was the best player on the court. Now, mind you, this was a kid in high school just a month earlier. It was moments like these that made the Black Mamba special, and stories like this helped create 20 years of great stories. Kobe's mentality started the trademark Mamba mentality. The Mamba mentality is what today's players use as a means of reaching a certain mental space that helps them reach a certain level of play out on the court. It's a way to pay homage to the hero Kobe was to many of our favorite NBA stars today. Sure, he was arguably one of the 5 best hoopers to ever step on a court, but what makes Kobe's legacy so spectacular is the mental foundation he laid out for generations of talented young players. What exactly makes the Mamba mentality so iconic? Why do stars idolize Kobe and work hard at trying to emulate his game? There's so much to uncover with Kobe's brilliant career. Some things about his greatness will inspire you, some things will leave you scratching your chin, and some, well, it might just scare you. Don't believe it? You better listen up, because here are some incredible, rare stories of the great Kobe Bryant that prove he wasn't human. If the first story doesn't accurately sum up just how special Kobe was, I don't know what does. In a story told by Kobe's personal trainer, Tim Grover, he said that the challenge with Kobe was getting him to stop. He told Kobe, "You're working out too much." Kobe was the essence of a workout warrior. It got to the point where he was out-training the trainer himself. Grover talked about how Kobe would call him every night at 3 a.m. for nearly 3 months, asking Grover to get in the gym with him right here, right now, to train him. If you're wondering about Grover and why Kobe chose him as his trainer, it's because of, really, one reason. That reason is that Grover was also Michael Jordan's personal trainer, and if we know one thing about Kobe, is that he wanted to do everything like his idol, MJ. From the workouts to the walking, talking, all the mannerisms, he wanted to be the second coming of MJ. What made this all even more credible was where Kobe was in his career at the time. He was only in his early 20s, and in his first few seasons in the league, when Grover couldn't get him to stop working out non-stop. Young players we see today rely on their youth and skill set. Kobe, meanwhile, even though he had all the talent in the world, he wanted to adopt the mindset of a seasoned all-timer that's been around the game forever. Truly a different breed. Kobe worked out harder, Michael worked out smarter. Grover was essentially saying that Kobe's mindset was on par with, if not greater than, the mindset of Michael Jordan. We're all aware of the intense mindset of MJ, his competitive spirit, his rip-out-your-throat mindset, and the obsession with winning. If people thought we would never see another player that would rival MJ's mindset, we were beginning to see just that in Kobe's Mamba mentality. A kid in his early 20s goes out and links up with the same guy who trained MJ and asked him to be in the gym with him at 3 in the morning? Like, huh? We'll never see a guy quite like Kobe Bryant again. But then again, this was just the beginning for the ruthless Mamba. If you thought there would come a point in Kobe's career that he would scale back the training and preserve his aging body, yeah, you're dead wrong. I mean, I kind of get it. Kobe was like 22 or 23 years old when he sought out Grover to train him at 3 in the morning. He was young then, right? When you're that young, your body can take a lot more beating and still be able to recover fast. But not when you're 34 years old. Here's the story. Kobe was now entering his 17th season in the NBA. 17 years. A trainer for Team USA tells a story about Kobe's ridiculous workout routine during the 2012 Olympics. He said that Kobe's workout usually got more intense in the off-season, which I didn't think was even remotely possible, but then again, you never know with Kobe. According to the trainer that worked closely with Kobe during the summer of 2012, Kobe would call him at 4:15 every day from the practice facility and would ask him to come work out with him in the gym. The trainer admitted that he grew sleep deprived and restless because of Kobe not leaving him alone during that summer. He went on to say that by the time he got down to the gym, Kobe was somehow already drenched in sweat like he had played a 5-on-5 game of pickup. It wouldn't even be 5 in the morning when all of this would transpire. Nonetheless, around 7 a.m., the trainer would go home, get some rest before needing to return to the facility later in the day. Now, get this. The trainer said that when he returned to the facility one day when the rest of the Team USA roster arrived for practice, so LeBron, Wade, Durant, Melo, etc., he remembers seeing Kobe alone on the other side of the court getting up shots. He says to Kobe, "Good work this morning." Kobe said, "Oh yeah, thanks man, I really appreciate it." "So when did you finish?" asking Kobe what time he left the facility this morning to rest up before Team USA's practice at noon. Kobe said, "Finish what?" He then clarified by saying, "Getting your shots up." "What time did you end up leaving the facility?" In vintage Kobe terms, he said, "Oh, just now. I wanted to make 800 shots, so yeah, just now." This conversation happened close to noon that day, which meant Kobe had been in the gym working on his game for over 7 hours. At 34 years old, having accomplished nearly everything a player could ever hope to accomplish, and already having the unbreakable respect from your peers, yet he was still out here working his tail off. Yeah, that's Kobe being Bryant, and I gotta say, if the story alone doesn't prove that Kobe is the mentally toughest player ever, nothing will. The first couple of stories about Kobe are insane. You may be left thinking, did Kobe ever sleep at night during his career? Well, unless just a couple of hours counts as getting sleep, then no, not really. Kobe even said it himself when he sat down to do an interview on ESPN early in his career. He said, "I don't need too many hours of sleep, man. I can go off 3 to 4 hours." This man was putting his body through all the wear and tear. He exerted all that energy every day, yet he still put together one of the greatest resumes in sports history. How about another instance when Kobe put his trainer through more physical misery than himself? The time when Kobe and his trainer, Tim Grover, biked over 40 miles until 2 a.m. This was the night before the 2008 Team USA would hold their first practice, and if you've learned anything about Kobe's insane work ethic, yeah, you probably know where I'm about to go with this. That man was in the gym just 5 hours after biking all night at 7:30 a.m. to begin practicing shots, hours before any other player on the team would show up. Apart from being a great athlete is having a supreme level of self-confidence. A lot of players are confident in their abilities, but Kobe, like pretty much everything else, took his whole self-confidence thing to a whole nother level. Right around his third season in the league, the young Kobe told future Hall of Famer and one of the premier defenders in the league at the time, Gary Payton, a thing or two about what he will go on to accomplish in the NBA. This is mind-blowing to say the very least. The self-assured Black Mamba told Gary Payton that he would become the best player in the league, would win at least 5 championships, and that he would become the all-time leading scorer in Lakers history. What? The kid who wasn't even drafted in the top 10, the kid who averaged just over 7 points per game in his rookie season, uttered that mouthful? And he said it like there was no way he wouldn't back up what he said. It's understandable to hear something like that from a kid who was drafted 1st or 2nd overall, or maybe was already regarded as top 5 player in the league. But Kobe had yet to prove anything at that point in his career. Kobe was cold-blooded, a basketball assassin. The kid who was talking all that trash to Gary Payton that one day indeed ended up becoming the best player in the game, won 5 ships, and scored the most points in Lakers history. Check, check, and check. Okay, like I'm actually wondering, was he human? One player who was a rookie at the time told a truly captivating story about Kobe when he would get to play against his idol for the first time ever in 2009. That was Gerald Henderson, who played his rookie season with the then Charlotte Bobcats. The story might just convince you once and for all that Kobe was a psychopath. Henderson, being the young player he was, recalls sharing a freaky cool moment with his idol a few hours before the start of the game. When Henderson saw that Kobe paused his pregame shooting and was gesturing over to the arena maintenance crew, Henderson came over to ask Kobe why he stopped shooting. Kobe said, "It's too low." At first, Henderson was confused about what Kobe was talking about. Then Kobe clarified, saying the rim is a 1/4 of an inch too low. Henderson still wasn't following the entire situation, thinking to himself, what is Kobe talking about? Who told him the rim was low? How does he know it's a 1/4 of an inch too low? After the game, he asked the maintenance crew about the whole instance and what Kobe had told him. He was told that Kobe somehow identified that the rim was too low, so the crew had to adjust the rim before the game started. A 1/4 of an inch. That's what Kobe said to Henderson. I don't know about you, but the fact that he was able to see with his naked eye that inconceivable difference in the height of the rim shows you the incredibly long hours Kobe had spent in his life looking at a rim. Okay, I'll concede, and obviously he's human, but it's just crazy to hear about stories like Gerald Henderson's. This is the Mamba mentality. All the wild anecdotes of Kobe's remarkable career are a precise reflection of how mentally and emotionally invested he was to his craft. Kobe left an inspiring legacy, a Hall of Fame legacy in both performance and mindset. His mindset and the birth of the Mamba mentality revolutionized the way our athletes today prepare and condition their bodies and mind for supreme athletic performance. Kobe's death stunned us all. We miss him dearly. There will never be another Kobe Bean Bryant. But if there's one thing we learned from the late great Mamba, it's that a legacy is made up on the path to chasing success. And in the words of the legend himself, after all, greatness is not for everybody.
Kobe, 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 Kobe.